Well, climate change is something that affects everyone on the planet, but admittedly, it did not happen overnight. One local research scientist is reminding everyone of this fact and some other implications of climate change that will affect most of us in the Caribbean region, inclusive of the Bahamas. Jimenita Swain has the story.
When it comes to climate change, what's happening right now is a result of things that have been happening since 1850. And so like all of these years ago, there's been greenhouse gases that have been going up into the atmosphere and that have stayed there. And they have long lifetimes and they're not breaking down anytime soon. And as we continue to emit greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and methane and all these other things, they stay there.
Climate change scientist Marjan Finlayson explaining how the world has gotten to where it is with climate change and the environmental impacts. The Bahamas, like its Caribbean counterparts, are making its united voices heard to address the climate change impact on small island developing states.
A huge campaign that is the 1.5 to Stay Alive campaign, focusing a lot of political energy there and looking at like trying to get the temperature in the future. So by 2100 that year, I think by that year, babies who were born in 2020 will be 80 years old, and the temperature is supposed to rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius in the best case scenario. In the worst case scenario, it would rise up to 4 degrees Celsius, and that's just the future we don't want. So trying to, one, make it known that we want the temperatures to go to 1.5. We can get there.
She touts the campaign as an important one, and the same to be said about SIDS receiving more funding to deal with the effects of this global problem.
You know, one of those big examples of with my study is hurricanes and how we aren't expecting to see more hurricanes develop, more than have occurred naturally, well, all natural, but what we're expecting to see is a higher proportion of category 3s, category 4s, and category 5s. How do we prepare countries like the Bahamas, countries like Jamaica? How do we prepare them for like more frequent major hurricanes? How do we prepare places for sea level rise? What adaptation efforts do we need to do? And what adaptation efforts did we have in the past that might be helpful in the future?
In short, she stresses this is the new normal.
The world 10 years from now, as a result of climate change, is going to look different from the world right now. And it already looks different from how it looked in 2000, which also looked different from 1990. So we just have to keep that in mind in terms of adaptation. Mitigation does help, and it is a big thing, especially if we want to get world temperatures down to a point where we are at 1.5 in the Caribbean to stay alive, quite literally.
Finlayson reasons that the best place to start is to see what personal changes can be made to lower one's carbon footprint. Jimenita Swain for the Bahamas Tonight.